Hello and welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to be talking about data from relapses. In fact, me and Mary both will be talking about this. Before you, Mary, I went down a route of learning from every relapse, looking at what went wrong, trying to iterate, and then go on another streak. And yesterday I was on a phone call with someone who isn't in the Beyond Compulsion Academy right now. They're looking to join in a couple of months, but they had been in a different porn addiction recovery program. And talking to him, I realized that this program that he'd been in had actually done him quite a big disservice. And it was actually a different program that quite a few of our clients have been in the past. It costs 20 times as much as our program. It's pretty crazy. And he was talking about how after every slip up, as they'd call it inside that program, they would look at it as like a bit of data to learn from and then move on. And look, I'm the biggest advocate for looking at data and trying to tweak and improve things and iterate. Like that's kind of how I live my life in the business.
Yeah.
But when it comes to relapse, this can lead to people staying stuck in the same revolving door, the same cycle for years and years and years. And I know that firsthand from my own experience. So I want to bring you into this conversation, Mary. Do you want to kind of share what's going wrong here? Because I've got quite a few things to say as well, but what's your first take on like what I'm saying right now?
You mean on using the data for, it sounds like kind of like validating that relapse is part of the journey, that relapse is part of recovery. If they're outwardly like, collecting the data, and did the people know they're collecting the guys? Do they know they're collecting data based on their relapses? It's almost
I think it's more about encouraging the guys inside their program to learn and look at the relapses as data to then tweak their own system for overcoming the problem. So I think that's what it's about. But the thing that I have a problem with here is that you're looking at the data completely wrong unless someone's actually changing the thought patterns. Because, right, I'll give like a bit more of an example and a bit of a background to all of this. So when I was in the porn addiction, I would go down this route myself as well. And I didn't even have to pay for an online program to do this whole thing of like learning from the relapses, looking at the data. I didn't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to do it, but it kept me stuck, right? It didn't work anyway. So what I was doing is if I relapse, I'd like write down what the trigger was that led to me relapsing. And I'd think, okay, well, it's because I spent too much time on Instagram. Oh, it's because I ate too much food. Oh, it's because I was really tired. It's because I was stressed. And I'd always look for some kind of reason and then try and manage my life in a different way to deal with that thing that I believed had caused the relapse. So then it's like you're kind of iteratively changing your lifestyle, your general sort of life to try and overcome the addiction. But I kind of wanted to bring you in to explain why that wouldn't work, right? Because it's so obvious to me now, but I think a lot of people are stuck in that same cycle.
So the data is based on what caused the relapse as far as the outside circumstances, that you were stressed out, that you were having a bad day, whatever it was. And so now you go ahead and change that part of your life. It's still all not connecting to the compulsive desire, right? So you're not going to change anything. You can go make a lot of changes in your life. You're still going to be just dancing around the problem and spinning out. And that now, that could be literally endless. The reasons people come up with that they've decided to look at porn, they stub their toe, whatever, it's like, don't ever stub your toe again. So it's still just completely the wrong focus. Because if you're not focusing on the compulsive desire and how to deal with that directly, then, what's the next thing going to be? It's just going to be endless and it can keep collecting data, but you're never going to be able to change the outcome of having that compulsive desire by dealing with what you think caused it other than the wiring that you have going on in your brain. So, yeah,
exactly. So like for me in the past, I remember at one point I had all these self-improvement goals and there'd be like things like meditation in there, eating certain foods, drinking a certain amount of water, journaling every day, going to sleep at a certain time. So it'd be all these different things and I'd like be tracking all of it in a journal. And my guess, and I don't know because I've not been in this program that, I was talking to this guy about yesterday, but my guess is that there's certain inputs that they're looking at, maybe similar to that, based on self improvement in one way or
Yeah.
another. You're tracking that, and then you're iterating and looking for how you can improve that area of your life,
Yeah.
rather than actually realizing that moment by moment you will experience like compulsive desires at times, and the only thing you need to do is deal with that compulsive desire in that moment. The rest of your life, it's nothing really to do with compulsive desire. Like, it's not
Yeah.
the problem, it's just irrelevant, basically.
Yeah. So, like, the most common thing would be, oh, well, I didn't go to the gym today. Right. So that's why I looked at porn, because I didn't go to the gym today. I just had a call with a guy yesterday who tried the self improvement method for a very long time, all these different ways of doing self improvement. And the thing is if you think that self improvement is your method, then you're going to, every time you don't do what your part of whatever your plan is to improve your life, then it's going to be a reason. Okay, well, I didn't go, I didn't do this. So now I'm going to engage in porn, rather than looking at the thinking that's behind that, keeping you from going to the gym or whatever, so you can use it as a reason, right? It's the wrong focus. But again, like I said, it's if you're focusing on the things that you think cause you to go look at porn, then that is endless, and you can spend a whole lot of time. And not to mention, there's, all the questioning around the different things that you're trying to use to avoid looking at porn. You can spend so much time, and I'm sure they probably do, online talking about it or whatever, and how can I do this better? And how can I do that better? It all goes off the main focus that is required to change neural pathways of compulsive desire, right? Yeah.
Percent. And then you're going to
Yeah.
develop certain thought patterns that can sort of be used by the addictive part of the mind to work against you further, because then you're literally going to develop a new neural pathway that says, if I don't do, insert behavior that you're trying to do
Yeah.
to deal with your porn addiction, if I don't do this, then I'm going to get out of control and I'm going to slip
Yeah.
up. So now you're
Yeah.
like living on this roller
Or if I
coaster.
do this, right? If I
Yeah,
don't do this, I'll do it. If I do this thing that will trigger me or whatever, then I'm going to do it. It's the wrong focus, and it's based in helplessness as well, right? If if you have the desire, if something causes you to have the desire, it's these, that's what's going to cause you to do it, right? Not going to the gym or whatever, rather than
exactly.
what causes you to want to do it, which is very different than, oh, this is what makes me do it. This is what causes me to do it. This might cause me to want to do it, or make me want to do it, which is very different. That language is so important to, not just be, oh, this is what's happening, so I'm out of control, if and try to avoid all these endless different kinds of circumstances that I'm sure they're coming up with, that are going to cause me to do it. It's just not true. A lot of things can make you want to, but it doesn't matter what makes you want to do it. It's irrelevant. If you want to do it, you got to think that through. And that's what we provide as a tool to be able to do that, to actually make change in the pathways, not make changes in your whole entire life. Just keep, you know, if you identify literally everything that could possibly trigger you to want to use porn, and you somehow miraculously are able to avoid all those things, or do all these things that help you not think about it or whatever, you're still going to be wired that way. It's going to come up regardless. So you can spend all this time dancing around the problem, trying to identify all these things, and you're still going to want to do it. So it's, but more power to the guys that are going these programs, spending this money there. It just, one thing it shows is that they want out of it. They want to get out of this behavior, and they're doing, I don't think I've talked to one guy really who hasn't done the whole NoFap thing. Have
Yeah.
you? There's maybe a random guy here and there who hasn't done NoFap, but
Mm.
I feel like if they haven't done NoFap, there's less unlearning to do.
Mm,
They every one of them that does that, they get in deeper. It's just because
yeah,
that streak mentality, it just gets them in deeper, and it's just such the wrong focus. So, yeah. So their neural
yeah,
pathways are wired to the wrong focus. Yeah. So,
yeah, exactly. And if there's anything to like learn from a relapse, really, the only thing is that you've dealt with the moment of compulsive desire in the incorrect way. Like that's the only thing you can possibly learn from it is like when that wanting's come up, which it will because the desire's inevitable. And when that wanting's come up, if you've ended up relapsing and acting on that desire, then you simply have dealt with that desire in the incorrect way, in one way or another. And okay, and that's all it is because the wanting learning how to deal with the wanting is the only thing you need to learn. Like once you've learned how to deal with the wanting, then you just
yeah.
get to live your life and you no longer have to be on that hamster wheel, treadmill cycle, roller coaster ride of just like going on these streaks and doing self improvement and just living in
Yeah.
this exhausting way.
Yeah.
And a really cool benefit is you actually get to like really enjoy self improvement and like maybe
Yeah.
go into the gym and reading a book without feeling like you're obliged to do it. Like, oh, I have to do this thing, otherwise I'm going to slip
Right.
up. It's like, nah, like you're not going to slip up if you don't
Yeah.
go to the gym one day. Like, so
Yeah.
based in helplessness,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
It's so true
Yeah,
because, like, all the things that they recommend that you do to try not to think about it, once you deal correctly with the compulsive desire and are able to get free, then those things are a choice. It's like you can do them or not do them. And if you do them, you can actually get the benefit of going to the gym or whatever self-improvement train you're on. You can get the benefit of that rather than just trying to use it as a way to avoid thinking about porn. Yeah.
yeah. And
Or
also,
any
I
other
think
addiction.
a lot of self improvement stuff can be really, really compulsive. Like if you feel like you need to
Yeah.
do something and you feel
Yeah.
compelled to do it, it's just
Yeah.
more neural pathways of compulsivity as well.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
also go down the
I've worked with
substitution route.
exercise compulsive people, you know,
Mm,
because the thing is they're trying they become compulsive about exercise because they're trying so desperately to not think about their compulsive desire. It's been for food with the work that I've done. They're trying not to think about wanting to eat compulsively. So then they go exercise compulsively and it just doesn't accomplish anything. It's because you can't outrun it. You can't outrun compulsive desire. So
yeah.
yeah, but they're not really getting they don't feel like they want to go and exercise. It's like so they get the benefit of exercise. They feel like they have to, right? Instead of just like, oh, exercising is nice and I feel good when I do it. It's like, oh man, I
Mm.
got to go exercise to try to get away from this compulsive desire. And that just doesn't seem enjoyable. I mean, wouldn't be enjoyable for me.
Unsustainable as well because if you get injured,
Right.
which I have done in the past, then you're kind of screwed. Like I remember like years ago before meeting you, I remember like getting a broken ankle or something playing football. And I remember I had a girlfriend at the time. She took me to the hospital and I got like the ankle like dealt with. And then I went home and I think I was on my own and I was just like relapsing really, really hard because I'd been doing well with NoFap for a while, been exercising a lot. I think I might have had plans to like go on a run or go to the gym that night because I was pretty obsessed with like exercise as a way to escape the desire. But then when you don't have that outlet anymore to run away from the desire
Oh,
and you
right.
realize that you've actually got to deal with your own minds, like you're
Yeah.
fucked if you get an injury
Yeah.
basically. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just so unsustainable because the problem's in the mind, it's not
Yeah, absolutely.
anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's wrap it up here then.
Okay.
Cheers, as always, Mary. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, this can share a different perspective to you if you have been on the hamster wheel of self improvement, trying to run away from the addictive part of the mind. Feel free to learn more about the Beyond Compulsion method at the beyondcompulsionacademy.com. Cheers, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.